Good morning, everyone. This is Laura. This is Free Practice Friday. This is July 5th, 2019. It's the day after the U.S. holiday Independence Day. I always call it the 4th of July, but of course there's a 4th of July everywhere that uses our calendar. There's been some interesting things going on. I inadvertently left my screen door open last night and woke up this morning to some sounds in my house. I'm not exactly sure who's here. I'm hoping it's my neighbor's cat because he comes to visit quite a bit. And my neighbors have said it's fine for him to come in here. I'm totally okay for him coming in here. But anyway, I have not found the visitor yet, and I'm hoping that it does turn out to be the cat. I'm hoping it doesn't turn out to be a raccoon or a possum or someone else that's living around here. And maybe the scrambling that I heard was this creature leaving, but I think actually I saw someone dart up my stairs, so I haven't seen anyone yet. I did go around and look around up there, but nothing so far. I didn't see anybody, so I'm hoping they'll turn up at some point. And but that brings me to the topic for today, which is breathing. So I was woken up this morning to a sound. It almost sounded like someone walking in the house. It wasn't a scraping or scratching sound, you know, like there was someone in here there was a creature in here looking at things, or, you know, trying to find food or something like that. It actually sounded more like someone walking around. But I have these old floors. The house that I live in is from the late 18th century, and it's every time you move, something creaks. So it could have just been a cat walking around and some of the boards were creaking. But I woke up with a start and kind of listened and didn't hear anything. And then I got up and very tentatively went into the other room and was trying to check things out and heard someone scramble, and then I think I saw a flash go up the stairs. So anyway, breathing. So what I did was just lie there for a while and try to do some deep breathing because my heart was kind of racing. And so that's a great segue into this segment on breathing. There are lots of different kinds of breathing. For Qigong, there's also, if you do yoga, you know there are lots of different kinds of breathing for yoga. I don't know very much about yogic breathing. There are a few types of breathing that I use for Qigong. Some people don't focus at all on the breathing in the beginning, other than to say, keep breathing. They don't tell you to breathe in a certain way. Other schools actually have you, will have you breathe very specific ways. Sometimes there's two different parts of breathing, right? There's the inhale and exhale, and in lots of Qigong movements, the inhale and exhale are coordinated with the movement, but then there's how are you breathing within your body. So it's the how are you breathing within your body that I want to talk a little bit about today. One of the kinds of breathing that I was trained in is called abdominal breathing, and the way that works, so in Western society, where a lot of us are very stressed out on a regular basis, and we tend to breathe into our chests, right? So we breathe and we're, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's mostly the chest that's moving. In Qigong and in other traditions, one way to calm down is to breathe more into the abdomen. And that doesn't mean, of course, the lungs don't go all the way down into the abdomen, but what happens is that when you breathe deeper into the lungs, it pushes the diaphragm down, and the diaphragm then displaces the organs that are in your abdomen, and that makes your stomach rise and fall. So if you watch me, let's see where I can get here so you can see my stomach. I'll see if I can demonstrate this. I'll have to probably exaggerate it a little bit, but if I breathe in through my chest or breathe into my chest, right, my chest moves up and down. If I'm breathing into my abdomen, I don't know if you can see that or not, but my abdomen moves up and down. If you think of the way, if you watch a baby sleeping or a dog or a cat, a pet, if they're just sleeping, you can see that their abdomen is moving, right? It's not just their chest area, but their abdomen also moves a little bit. So we'll play around with this, and I'll give you some tips on how you can practice it, and how you can, a couple things you can do so that you can actually see it happening. You can see your abdomen moving up and down, but it can feel a little bit awkward in the beginning, and it can feel really hard to do. So sometimes you don't actually see it moving, but there's ways that you can visualize it moving, or you can actually see it moving. So if you just stand in a comfortable stance and try to relax the body a little bit. If your shoulders are up here, try to let them go down, and just pay attention to your breathing. If you want, you can close your eyes. And see if you can feel the parts of your body that are moving when you breathe. Sometimes it can help to put one hand on your chest and the other one on your abdomen. Just below your belly button often works. And see if you can sense what part of your body is moving. Then if you want to come back to the room, open your eyes if they're closed. And if you notice that your chest was moving while you were breathing, then that's pretty par for the course. For most people that don't regularly practice Qigong or yoga or meditation or they don't regularly practice a breathing technique, really. If you notice that your abdomen was moving, that's great. If not, we can actually learn to get there. It took me probably a good 6 months to really understand it. So you might not get it today, but you can move in that direction. So, a couple things you can do. One is that when you breathe in, if you feel your chest expand, see if you can just relax the chest. You don't want to slouch, but just relax the chest. Think about relaxing the lungs. And see if you can make some additional space in there by pushing the air down. And then maybe you can take a slightly more of a breath in, fill up a little bit more, and then breathe out. So I'll try that one more time. Breathe in. Think about pushing the air down. See if you can make a little more space in your lungs. Breathe in a little bit more. And then breathe out. Good. And if you, on the exhale, so there's this other aspect of breathing, coordinating with the movements. Also, some people say it's better to exhale through your mouth. Other people say exhale through your nose. Sometimes it depends on what your end goal is. But the emotions are expressed in the breath. And so sometimes it can feel really good just to sigh, right? It's a relieving kind of feeling, a releasing kind of feeling. And if you tried to do that same thing with your mouth closed, I guess you could do it, but to me it doesn't have the same kind of release. I can't let as much air out. I can't let the same volume of air out as quickly. And so it feels like there's something tightening up or something blocking the air coming out. It takes a little bit longer for it to come out. And so that relief, that feeling of relief isn't really there for me. So you've got this sigh of relief out. It maybe gets a little bit more of the air out of your lungs. And then when you breathe in and out, maybe when you're breathing in after you've had that nice sigh out, you can breathe more into your abdomen. At some point I want to talk more about the emotions being expressed in the breath, because that's also a really interesting aspect of Qigong. And when you start practicing regularly, you have these interesting experiences where you just kind of spontaneously sigh or yawn or moan or groan, that sort of thing, and maybe you laugh, and it's the excess, it's the emotion that's stuck in your body, it's getting released. And so in that way, breathing out through your mouth in the same way that your emotions are often expressed in the breath and often through the mouth or through sound, that can be a great thing. But anyway, let's go back to the abdominal breathing. If you try to empty your lungs a little bit more, sometimes that can help to allow the abdomen to move a little bit. So you don't even have to sigh out, although that's a great way to do it. But if you just breathe out and then breathe out a little bit more, maybe a little bit more, and then breathe in, you can feel the breath moving into your abdomen. So again, let's try that. Breathe out, exhale, a little bit more, and a tiny bit more, and then breathe in. And today I want to sigh. There's something in there. Maybe it's still the heart palpitations from thinking that a deer or someone had walked into my house. The door was open a good probably 18 to 24 inches, so I had it open to get the air in here, but I didn't realize that the screen was also open. So I think those sighs are just getting out some of the tension from the frightening event this morning. So another way to play around with how to feel abdominal breathing is when you exhale. So we're building on this past exhale. When you exhale, pull your abdomen in just a little bit, right? So white background here. You breathe in. When you exhale, I don't think you can see that at all. But pull your abdomen in just a little bit. Your stomach muscles, kind of like, you're walking around and you're trying to be all cool and sexy, and you see someone of the opposite sex and you want to impress them, and so you pull your stomach in a little bit. That if you do that, then on the inhale, just relax your stomach, and you can get used to feeling that motion. You're not going to be pulling your stomach in too hard. You're not going to be actively stretching it out when you inhale. But sometimes that just brings your consciousness into your body, into your abdomen, and helps for you to recognize the feeling that you'll be making when you breathe into the abdomen. So if you breathe in, just relax the stomach, and then breathe out and gently pull the abdomen in. Breathe in, let the abdomen relax. And then breathe out and pull in. Breathe in and just let the abdomen, it just naturally expands. And then breathe out and pull in just a little bit. Good, and then you can relax. One way to visualize this happening is if you have a yoga block. If you have books, you can have a book, and you can actually lie down. You can lie down on the floor or on a yoga mat or in bed or someplace and put the block on your abdomen. So if I lie down and I put the block on my abdomen, then as I'm breathing, I can see the block moving up and down. And initially, it might just be a tiny little bit that it's moving, but then eventually it will, you'll be able to see it moving more and more. And that's another way, that's a great way to kind of get some immediate feedback, right? And to get some positive reinforcement like, oh yes, I'm doing this right. And if you don't see anything moving, try the inhale, and then when you exhale, pull your stomach in. That will pull the block down a little bit, and then just relax your stomach as you inhale again, and that will let the block come up. And those, between the physical, getting used to the physical motion and having the block there and seeing it move up and down, those can be some great reinforcements for how to practice this abdominal breathing. And you can practice it anywhere, right? If you're standing in line somewhere, I might not practice it when I'm driving, because either it can, if you are struggling with it, it can be stressful, or if you find that it's really relaxing, it can get you into too relaxed a state, and you want to obviously be focused on the road while you're driving. But you can practice it while you're watching TV, just sitting there, reading a book or something like that. When you're around other people, they won't necessarily see you doing it, because really, so I can do it right now. Right. And other than maybe you saw my hands moving a little bit, but other than that, it just looks like I'm standing there. So maybe I'm having a conversation with someone and they're talking, and I just, and I nod and I smile, and then just one breath, and I can say, okay, I've practiced it. So the 3 ways that I mentioned to work on abdominal breathing, you have the block, which we just, or a book on your stomach while you're lying down, and that's one way to do it. You can breathe in, and then as you're exhaling, pull your stomach in. And then the first one that I mentioned was the breathing in. And if you feel like you're breathing into your chest, think about pushing the air just a little bit down, right? Encouraging it to go down into your lower lungs. And then you can breathe in a little bit more. See if you can play around with that. So thank you so much. I know we didn't do any specific Qigong movements today, but there's so much to talk about with Qigong, and we don't always have to move.